we're going to change out rear struts on this car. Now the reason I know they're bad is the car is real bouncy in the rear end. Also, when I go over bumps, there's a loud clanking in the rear end. And if I go around a curve and there's bumps in the road, the car will kind of hop and not feel stable. It's not a safe condition, and it wears out your tires real fast. So let's change them out. Now each strut is mounted to the knuckle behind this tire, and it's mounted with 3 nuts on top under this cover where that speaker is. Well, I need to take a few things apart on the inside to access that, so I'm going to start by doing that. First thing I'm going to do is take the back seat out. And to do that, you just lift up on the seat. There's 3 clips. Might be a little hard to pull up. And slide the seat out. Next, on each side, there's these pads on the side of the seat and a 12mm bolt that needs to come out to remove that. And then this pad, you slide up and pull it out. And now we'll tip the seat backs down. Now we'll pop these little tabs off of here. There's a Phillips screw. There's one there and one there. And remove this trim piece right here. Just pop straight out. And the same thing at the bottom. Now we need to remove the baby seat tie down. So we can get this deck lid off. And there's 2 screws on the cover for the brake light. And now we need to remove this back cover. There we go. And now you can see we have access to the 3 nuts on the top of the strut. And now we'll jack up the car and remove the wheel. And never trust your jack alone. Always use jack stands or support the car in another way. Now we'll remove the sway bar end link. And if that's spinning, you can put an Allen wrench in there and hold that with a wrench and take that off. And it seems like it is. I might have to do that. Ooh, she's tight. Now we'll remove the brake line clip, which is mounted to the strut. And move that out of the way. And we also have our ABS, which runs through this area here. And I'll remove that. Okay, we got those out of the way. This is under tension. I'm going to jack this axle up here so I can get this sway bar link disconnected. You can see it's moving up, and that takes pressure off this. Now there's a bolt and a nut that hold this strut to the knuckle, and we need to remove that. There's one on top and one on the bottom down here. There's the one on top right there, and the one on bottom is right down here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's right down here. It's right in line with that one. There, you can see the other end of it in my finger. Those 2 have to come off, and then the 3 nuts up top, and our strut is free. And we'll remove the nut and the bolt. You want to make sure that the jack isn't pushing up on this arm here, otherwise that bolt's going to be stuck in there. So you can just wiggle this back and forth, get this bolt out, and the bottom one the same. And now we're released. We're all released down here. We just got to go up and take those 3 nuts off, and we can take this strut off and put our new one on. Now I'm going to mark the outline of these nuts at these 3 spots. Some of them have a little play in it. If you mark them, you can get real close to where they were when you put the new ones in and potentially avoid a realignment. But they always recommend when you change anything like this that you should get an alignment done. My tires are real worn, so I'm just going to let it go till I get new tires, but I'm going to mark these so I can get as close as I can. And they're only set at 29 foot-pounds, so I can get them off with this little impact. Now this last one, I'm just going to loosen it. But the strut's dropping down now. So I'm going to grab the strut with my other hand, take this off the rest of the way, and the strut will come out. There we go. And you don't want to mess with that center nut. Leave that alone, otherwise this spring's going to explode. Well, there's our old strut, and here's our new one. And you want to line them up and make sure that all the brackets are where they're supposed to be and everything's right before you go trying to put it in. And I put a little of the blue thread locker on these. Now I'm going to push this up so I can get a nut on one of the bolts there. Got it. Now I can put these lower bolts and nuts in the knuckle and then jack it up so I'm secure up there, and then tighten those down. And I just want to clean these up a little bit. I don't need to change these. And I'm going to put some thread locker on this also. The blue, not the red. I just snugged them down. They call for 188 foot-pounds torque. I'm going to go 150 because I'm using the old bolts. I want to go up top and make sure I can get the bolts pushed up and the nuts on. Alright, I got everything lined up. I can see I got 2 nuts on the bolts up there, and one is dropped down a little bit, so I'm hoping when I jack this up, it'll push it through. Oh yeah. I've got it lined up with those marks I put. And I'll torque these down to 29 foot-pounds. And we just have to reassemble this down here. Put our sway bar link back in. I'm going to try to just push down on it and slide it in. There we go. And our nut back on. And I cleaned up the threads on these so we don't have to fight it. And this gets tightened down to 45, 47 foot-pounds. There we go. Eee-doggy. Now I'm going to put the wheel back on. Go over to the other side, do that one, then we'll go inside, put it back together. And I let the jack down so the wheel is just, the tire's just touching the ground. And then I can torque the lug nuts. Just enough to hold it. And I go 80 foot-pounds. All these torque settings you can look up online. Make sure you get them right. And of course you go in a crisscross pattern. And reassembling it is going to be just the opposite of disassembly. And lastly, all we need to do is throw the seat in, and you just want to make sure to pull the buckles up and put them in the pockets in the seat. You just slide it back and push down. That's it. And that's all there is to changing out the rear struts on your car. If this video was a help to you, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And I look forward to helping you with other projects online.